Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Cryptex. It's gonna be fun.
I am just a freak.
So I want to talk again about the sticks that were placed on Abby's and Libby's bodies by the killer or the killers. The general idea is that the sticks were placed as an arrangement in order to form like Germanic runes, that in the sense of the Odinist theory. Other idea is that the sticks were placed just to hide the bodies, like an attempt to conceal the bodies. And other idea, the third one is that that was just something to distract law enforcement. And I have another option, let's say. What about this? Remember BTK? As you know, BTK, the famous serial killer, he used a signature after committing his crimes with the letters BTK, bind, torture, and kill. And remember that he used to put 1 point inside each section of the B letter. That was to represent breast. I imagine it was part of the sexual sadistic fantasies he had at the time of the crimes. What about if the stick arrangements on Abby and Libby was something like that? What do you think? Let me know in your comments. So let's talk about the Anthony Shots money account going to Libby. So we know from the Keegan Klein's transcript that the Anthony Shots money account was going to Libby. I did a couple of videos about that, and there were some people saying that I was taking that too literally, that law enforcement was actually talking about images. So remember that from the same transcript were some paragraphs where law enforcement was talking about some images that Keegan Klein was using to pretend to be like a rich or a successful guy. Remember about the Ferrari? There were some pictures about money. So some people were commenting that when law enforcement said that we have the money going to Libby's, that was related to the images and not to actual money going to the girl. I disagree. I think is very clear in the transcript that they're talking about the Anthony Shots money account going to Libby's. But let's say there's a possibility that they were talking about images and not about actual money. Other people said that, okay, maybe they were talking about actual money, but law enforcement, they can lie during the interrogation. I doubt that they were lying to Keegan Klein, but let's say again, maybe there's also that possibility. Now, why do I think that those possibilities are not likely? Why do I think that there was actually some money going to Libby's from the Anthony Shots account? And the answer is because there was a victim, a different victim, who told us, or who told law enforcement in a testimony, that she received money from the Anthony Shots account. That is an indication to me that the same thing happened to Libby, especially when we had that statement from the transcripts. And why is that important? Because when we are trying to figure out what happened here, what was the reason behind the crime, we have to think about motive. Why was Anthony shot, Keegan Klein, or someone else behind that account sending money to Libby? Why? What was the nature of that transaction? I just wanted to make my point about that, about that statement. It was not images of the money, it was not pictures of the money, it was not law enforcement lying to Keegan Klein. It was an actual monetary transaction, and that's important to me. So, guys, if you are enjoying the video, please hit the like, and if you are not subscribed, please do it. Subscribe. That's gonna help our channel. Thank you so much. Let's make a pause to remember what was supposed to happen the day of the murders. So this video is from 2016, 1 year before the murders. It takes 1 minute. Please stay with me. I think it's important to remember what was supposed to happen. I think it's important to remember how was the vibe of that area before the murders. It was all joy, all happiness, and because of this killer or killers, the situation is totally different right now. As you know well, English is not my mother tongue. It's not my natural language. So because of that, I try to pay attention to every single word that is used in a movies, in a song, in a case like this one, like Delphi's. So, for example, here in the Delphi's case, when we are referring to the crime, we can hear words like murder, the girls were murdered, killed, double homicide, slaughter, slain, etc. Actually, I don't know what's the difference between those words. Going to the point. So we know that the FBI, they choose every word very If we go to the FBI side, we can see that the word slain is used when referring to the crime of Abby and Libby. So I know that slay means killing someone in a violent way. But what is interesting for me is the mythic quality of this word. What do I mean? So you would slay a dragon. A knight. A demon. You would slay someone that represents a danger to you, someone you know. I'm sure you're not gonna use the word slay when you're killing a mosquito, even if you're killing it in a violent way, right? So let me know what do you think in the comment sections, please. I appreciate your input about that. To continue with the same idea of a British guy knowing potentially one of the victims before the crimes, Abby or Libby. Uh, let's remember what Anna Williams said about a creepy guy giving a creepy look to Abby.
Had an incident I remember a few years ago where we were in a store, and as I always do, I tend to see who's standing in line as they're checking out. And generally, people that are in the checkout see who's coming through the door. It's a small town, so where you do your quick wave, hey, I haven't seen you. How's it going? How's the kids? Da da da. But I remember that particular incident. Then when we got outside, one of those people was actually cats. That's Abby's cat, by the way. That is Bongo. Yeah, noxious. That there was somebody sitting in their car, and they were parked right next to it, and it was one of those. I noticed they were watching as we left, and I think he made a comment like, "You look like you know who I am," or something of that nature. And I said, I said, well, I've worked in a variety of jobs here locally, tend to see a lot of different people, and then not see people for a long time, but I don't recall specifically. And I kind of remember she'd gotten into the car, which was actually on his side of the car, but at that time it was all very normal. And then he kind of glanced down, and then he kind of looked back up, and then I just got in the car and we left. It was the middle of the afternoon. It wasn't like,
Did you get the feeling that he was paying attention to her?
No.
No, just
No. I think it was just an offhanded situation.
Yeah.
But one of those that when we were driving, she's like, that guy kind of creeped me out. That guy kind of creeped me out. That guy kind of creeped me out. That guy kind of creeped.
So we never know. That was most probably something unrelated to the crime, but we never know. This case is so weird that anything can happen. Maybe that guy was a bridge guy, or one of the killers, or someone behind the Anthony Shot account stalking Abby. I don't know. Sorry if you hear a little bit of noise in the background. My dog is playing with some toy, and she wants to be next to me, so I cannot help myself. Let's talk about contradictions. The first one is the gait.
When you see the video, watch the person's mannerisms as they walk. Watch the mannerisms as he walks. Do you recognize the mannerisms as being someone that you might know? Remember, he is walking on the former railroad bridge. Because of the deteriorated condition of the bridge, the suspect is not walking naturally due to the spacing between the ties.
He's asking us to watch the mannerism of the person, of the bridge guy, and see if someone we know has the same type of mannerism. But then he says, bear in mind that the way he walks is not the normal way he walks because of the condition of the bridge. So, do you see the contradiction here? Watch the mannerism and see if that mannerism corresponds to someone you know, but bear in mind that he's not walking as he normally does. So, again, great job, Carter. You're the best. So, another quick break here. I'm going to talk about worms. You're going to say Cryptex is a weirdo. What the fuck is he talking about? But please stay with me. Let's take a look to this video, and I'm going to explain after.
On top of us,
How many senses do worms have?
they have two: smell and touch. Why?
So they live without any ability to see or even know about light, right? The notion of light to them is unimaginable.
Yeah.
But we humans, we know that light exists all around them, right on top of them.
So why did I put that clip here? Is just to remember to everyone, included myself, that in this true crime community we are worms, in the sense that we are blind, partially, because we don't know the totality of the evidence. We are trying to do the best with the limited information we have, but we cannot be sure about anything. So if you are in the Richard Allen side, thinking that he's innocent, maybe right. If you are in the opposite side, he's guilty and he's the only one, maybe you're right. If you think that he was involved, but there were multiple actors, maybe you're right. But the important thing is no one can be sure about that. No one can be sure about their conclusions. And so don't go into a war with other people. Doesn't make sense. Let's wait for the process. Let's see what's the evidence that is going to be presented there, if it makes sense or if it doesn't make sense, if it's going to bring more questions instead of more answers. Let's see what is the context of the confessions, what kind of words Richard Allen used when he did the confessions. If he says very specific things during these confessions that only the killer knows, maybe that's something that is not going to play well for him. But if he said, I feel responsible for the murders of the girls, something in that sense, there's a lot of meat for the defense to say, look, that's not actually a confession. So I don't know, or if he was coerced, or we don't know. Let's see what's the context of that. We don't know anything. So sorry if that was a little bit weird. Forgive me for calling you a worm. I'm a worm. And let's continue. So a quick point here about Richard Allen and his defense team. There are three main things that the Richard Allen defense is trying to distance for. The first one is the mental health records. They don't want the prosecution to have access to the mental records of Richard Allen. And that's interesting because one of the hypotheses is that he may have confessed to the personnel of that mental institution. So this is not going to be something that is going to favor Richard Allen if it's brought to the process. A second thing I can see here is Keegan Kline. If you see, the Frank memorandum was all about oddness. If I'm trying to represent my client, the first thing I'm going to talk about is about Keegan Kline, Anthony Shots, that the murder could be related to that scenario, but they don't talk at all about that. And that's weird to me. They prefer to focus on the Odinism theory, what is a little bit more far-fetched than the Anthony Shots or the catfishing scenario. And that, to me, is an indication of a potential connection between Richard Allen and Keegan Kline. And the third thing they want to get distance for, or they don't want to have in the process, is evidence related to the vehicle. So you can have more details in a video made by Navillus. He explains very well that point in his video. So I recommend to go to check that video, guys. I'll put it in the description. Thank you guys for being here. That was all for today. And say hello to Pripsy. And she remembers that please hit the like. And as she was a good girl today, let's give her a treat. So see you guys. Stay tuned. Coming soon with a new video next week.